Dragon Ball Super episode 63 has just concluded, and again guys, keep in mind this video will contain massive amounts of spoilers going into Dragon Ball Super episode 64, so in case you guys have not already watched the episode, I really recommend you guys to go ahead and do so. This was actually one of the best episodes that I would have to say that came out of the last few weeks, and of course, Dragon Ball Super episode 64 is now on the horizon with the merged fusion of Zamasu. Now some of you may be wondering what exactly does this mean, and again I'm going to be sharing my predictions as to what may or may not happen in the coming episode, and judging based on your comments guys, a lot of you seem to be so excited because of this, because on the fact that Gowasu shows up, and even after Gowasu shows up we've noticed that Beerus is not there, which is kind of a letdown because we've all wanted to see the God of Destruction finally have a role in fighting off, you know, Zamasu and whatnot, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore because now we have Gowasu showing up with his Supreme Kai, in which case they almost died, by the way. And in retrospect, there's hope, and the reason why there's hope is because Gowasu bears not one, but 2 earrings on his ear. Now, what does this mean? That means that if shit gets critical, Gowasu can easily take his earrings off, hand it on over to Goku and Vegeta, and keep in mind, I do think that Gowasu's earrings are going to play a very critical role, especially having the merger of Zamasu and Black combating the likes of Goku and Vegeta. Unfortunate enough for Trunks, Trunks had been stabbed. I swear to God, we need to start keeping like a stab count for Black, because Black so far has stabbed literally everybody. He stabbed Goku, he stabbed Vegeta, he stabbed Trunks. I mean, who's next? And even while that's happening, when Gowasu showed up, he simply recommended to everyone to say, well, you know what? We need to use the Dragon Balls to go on ahead and make the wish so we can get rid of these fools. But of course, with that being said, we do know that the Dragon Balls, the Super Dragon Balls, are no longer in existence because of the fact that Zamasu and Black had destroyed them. So what do? I think that going forward into Dragon Ball Super episode 64, we do see how Vegeta was kicking ass. We have to give Vegeta lots of props for going in there essentially, and even despite how strong Black is, and Black is very strong, nobody can take that away, Vegeta went prior into the time chamber, did a whole bunch of push-ups, did a whole bunch of sit-ups, God knows what he did in there. He came out a lot stronger than before, and of course confronting Black on the situation, he was able to have the upper hand. But despite having the upper hand in this episode, however, I think that in the coming episode, episode 64, the tides will be turned once again, because we do see multiple Goku Blacks being shown. I think that was like the after image technique in a way, because we saw how they just, you know, miraculously poofed out of air, and we saw how Zamasu was laughing and whatnot. Even after taking, you know, just critical damage, we see Zamasu was just there laughing with his arms open. So I do think that going into next week's episode, we're going to see the merger of Zamasu and Black, but I think that's going to happen more towards the end. And the reason why I believe it's going to happen towards the end is because I do think that, you know, during the beginning and the middle of the episode, we're going to see a head-on collision between Goku Black, Zamasu, and Vegeta and Goku. And to top it all off, I do think going into next week's episode, as strong as Vegeta is now, because keep in mind, I will link a video down in the description below made by my friend EMOSH'S. He took the time to literally timestamp and go through, you know, every single individual episode and explain to you guys on how exactly Goku Black operates. And it's very interesting to see that, because EMOSH'S goes into detail as to how strong Black gets, and Black gets strong on a consistent basis. Every single time, you know, he seems to take damage, he just seems to enjoy it, and he seems to come back even stronger than before. So that's what gives Goku Black the advantage. You can beat the guy up all you want. In a way, he can take all that damage, in which case he did. Go back and watch episode 57. Go back and watch episode 62. I mean, Goku Black has sustained so much damage. Kamehameha waves beaten down into the ground. You know, Gallic Gun blasted into the mountain. And he seems to come back standing there like, alright, what's up? Is that all you got? So I think, hypothetically speaking, of course, the damage that Vegeta did to him in the prior episode, episode 63, is going to result in Black coming back stronger than before, because that's how he continuously improves. He improves through physical damage. So the more damage Vegeta does to him, the stronger he gets. I mean, obviously enough, I'm wearing Black's gi, so I would know, because I always get stronger myself, you know what I'm saying? But all jokes aside, I think that Goku Black is going to turn the tides on Vegeta next week. I think that despite what Vegeta does, because towards the end of the episode, we saw how Vegeta's like, I'm the prince, I'm Prince Vegeta, and he powered up, which was awesome. But I think going forward from that, I mean, even Black himself, I mean, as he was looking at Vegeta, he had like that sinister smile. He was just like, is that all you got, man? So I think that going into next week's episode, Vegeta once again is going to have the upper hand just for a slight moment, I would say, until Black begins to turn the tides. And we saw, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we saw how, you know, Black's blade was longer than it was before, and we saw how it had somewhat of a hook. So obviously enough, you know, the energy blade that he has is longer than before. He seems to have somewhat of a new tactic now as he approaches Goku and Vegeta. We saw based on the episode preview that he's able to maneuver really fast and he's able to do a whole bunch of stuff. And even Zamasu, I mean, Zamasu looked like he just lost his freaking mind. So it's crazy to see how developed Zamasu and Black are, in which case I think they are the best villains of Dragon Ball Super. If anything, they just might actually be the best villains, in my opinion, of the entire Dragon Ball franchise, just based on their philosophy, based on their approach. They don't have to destroy, you know, entire solar systems to prove a point. They've killed gods, they've killed humans, and like obviously as of right now they could have easily killed Trunks, they could have easily blown up the planet, but they're not doing so because they have, you know, a much higher agenda. So I think Dragon Ball Super episode 64, we're definitely going to see the fusion of Black and Zamasu towards the end. Having that happen towards the middle area wouldn't, you know, really fit. And the reason why it wouldn't fit so much is because Dragon Ball Super episode 65 is going to be the final judgment. So I think that during that portion, we're going to see Goku and Vegeta like slug it out, and they're going to get their asses beat, because let's face it, I mean, the last time we saw Potara fusion was with Vegito, and we saw how strong he was. So Lord only knows how strong this dude might be. It just actually is, because I think that like taking the immortality factor of Zamasu and taking the, you know, freakishly improvement factor of Black and putting that together, that makes for a very unstoppable being. But however, the Mafubu jar is broken, they're trying to fix it. So right now, like, our options of how this is going to end is kind of slimming down. It could either end by, you know, Vegito coming into play and just slugging it out until the very end, despite Zamasu being immortal, or perhaps the Mafubu jar can be fixed and we're going to see Vegito or someone else possibly just send that fusion and just seal him away into that containment jar. We're not entirely sure. What really sucks, to me at least, is the fact that Beerus didn't show up, because the second Gowasu showed up, I mean, everyone just lost their minds. Black was like, what? And Zamasu was like, oh look, it's Gowasu and stuff. So it was really interesting to see that. So I do think that going forward in next week's episode, Vegeta's gonna have the upper hand for probably about like 2 or 3 minutes until Black turns the tide. Goku fighting Zamasu, I think that Goku, once again, is going to beat his ass. But despite beating his ass, Zamasu is just going to take all the damage, and he's just going to say, you know what, is that all you got? Because also, if you look at, you know, the way Black and Zamasu fight, right? Let's say, for example, Goku and Vegeta set their sights on Black and they charge right at him. With like a devastating attack, we see how Zamasu just quickly gets in the way, and he's just like, no, I'm going to take the damage for him. So in a way, Zamasu seems to take more damage for Black sometimes when he realizes that he's in danger. However, I want to talk about the merged fusion. Now, the merged fusion, he has green skin, he has white hair. Keep in mind, Toyotaro was behind the design of Zycor. A lot of you guys may not know who he is. Zycor was the fan-made character that he created back when it was Dragon Ball AF, way back in the day, which was a Saiyan who had white hair, black spikes on his, like, you know, 2 black strands in his hair. He had green attire, and in a very small way, after looking at the merged fusion, we see how, once again, we have white hair, we have green-like skin, we have green clothing. So I think it's a somewhat of like a little throwback to his, like, you know, Zycor character. But needless to say, I want to talk about like the way he looks. Now, he has white hair, and Akira Toriyama many months ago talked about how there was going to be an enemy with white hair who is going to transcend space and time and give everyone a hard time. However, we thought it was going to be Zamasu. It is Zamasu, but we didn't even think that they were going to fuse. So now we have the real white-haired enemy that just so happens to merge with someone who has Goku's body, which is just insane, because can you imagine the freakish power that they're going to have? So I think that towards the end, we're going to see the ultimate beatdown of Goku and Vegeta, and they can't really travel into the past anymore because their time machine's busted, unless, of course, you know, Bulma manages to fix it on time. However, I do think that there is a chance that the merged fusion just might spot that, and they might spot Bulma trying to fix it, in which case she would be in grave danger if that were to happen. But I think that going forward from here, like I said before, next week, we're going to have Black and Zamasu turn the tides yet again, because in this episode, we saw how they were kind of struggling a little bit, and we saw how Zamasu was just like, what the hell? Because in this episode, we literally saw, you know, Zamasu look at Black, and he was like, what the hell? You're actually struggling against Vegeta? Like, how's that possible? So, because we saw Black get pushed back. Black was actually, you know, he was throwing those haymakers and stuff, and we saw how Vegeta was catching it, and he was pushing him back, even, you know, grabbing him by the face and just driving him right down into the dirt. So, much props to Vegeta on that. Now, I want to know from you guys down in the comment section below, what are your overall overall expectations going forward into episode 64. I was reading a bunch of your comments, even reading them right now in my breakdown review, and a lot of you guys are happy. A lot of you guys seem to be excited. There's a very small percentage of you guys, it's just like, oh, you know, just screw the fusion. It's just like, why? You get what I'm saying? But for the most part, a lot of your feedback has been great. A lot of your overall thoughts on how this is going to end has been really intriguing as well. Having a look at the community reaction video, having a look at, you know, everything that you have to say. You know, it's kind of hard for me to read every single comment, but I'm reading most of the comments, and a lot of you guys seem to say that yes, Vegito is going to be in here. But even if Vegito gets introduced into Dragon Ball Super, my question to you is, how is Vegito going to fare up against someone like this? Is Vegito going to be at a much higher level? Is he going to be equal, or is he going to be below that? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's really hard to say. In my opinion, I would have to say, logically speaking, two Super Saiyan Blues, I would have to assume that Vegito would be a lot stronger, because looking at what happened with Buhan, I mean, he was just toying around. There was even a point where, you know, Vegito was fighting just, you know, with his feet. He wasn't even using his hands. So I think that this is going to be a very, very awesome showdown if they go down the path of having Gowasu take the earrings off and give it to Goku and Vegeta, and, you know, Zamasu's fusion, you know, noticing that and trying to stop him. I do also think that in the coming future, Gowasu just may die by the hands of this fusion. How he dies, it's quite unknown, but it's really hard for me to fathom everyone being, you know, in this one particular timeline and not having someone get killed off. You get what I'm saying? I really doubt that Trunks is gonna die. I really doubt that Bulma's gonna die. Vegeta ain't gonna die. Goku's not gonna die. So I think that the only plausible person left for them to write off as a kill count for, you know, Zamasu's fusion would be Gowasu. It'll only make sense for them to redeem the travesty that happened in the past and having Gowasu live. So having the fusion kill Gowasu off, I can definitely see happening. However, in terms of a lot of us wanting Beerus, as of right now, that's a little hard to say because he's not there. Unless, of course, they manage to fix the time machine, grab, you know, the fusion and go back into the past, allowing Beerus to just sit there and wait. Can you imagine if Beerus was sitting there waiting for them to come back, and then as they come back and they pop out of the time machine, Zamasu's fusion's there, Beerus is like, alright, now it's time to rumble. But all in all, I do think that next week is going to be a epic showdown. I don't think it's going to be much dialogue going into like anything. I think it's going to be just not... But all in all, I think that next week's episode is going to be summing up the fact that Black and Zamasu are possibly going to get pushed back a little bit to where they're going to be like, alright, well, you know, we've been talking about this, so I think it's best for us to combine powers, because we still need clarity as to why they're coming together. I mean, they're freakishly strong as a team, you know, just working individually, but having to, you know, culminate into one being is going to be really interesting to see how they're going to operate, because we want to know as to why. We know why Goku and Vegeta fused when they fought Buhan was because Buhan had such power, and it was basically, you know, like just almost like just not possible for them to stop Buhan individually, as we saw when they fought Buhan, you know, at Super Saiyan 2s, and Buhan was just kicking them around, and he was just like, is that all you got? So Goku was pleading with Vegeta to fuse, so that's why they fused. Again, I would love to see a backstory as to why Black and Zamasu fused, because as a cohesive unit, like the way they operate is very dangerous. It's like they both work as like, you know, a unit. So having them combine, you know, just give us a reason as to why they combine, I think is best, you know, noted. But I think that more so now than ever, I talked about this months ago, fusion is needed. Why? Because they're in a situation to where it's a desperate scenario. There's nothing they could do. You can do spirit bombs or Genki Damas, you can do Kamehameha waves, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can't kill someone who's immortal. And now that they're fused, we can only make the assumption that they're gonna retain the immortality. So it's like, oh damn, like what the hell do you do? But I wanna know your thoughts down in the comment section below, guys. How do you guys think this is going to end? And what are your overall thoughts on the factor of this fusion? How can it be beat? How long is it gonna last? And what do you guys think is going to be like the last resort for Goku and Vegeta? Comment down below, guys. Thank you all for watching. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more awesome daily content. Lots of Dragon Ball videos, guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to finger that like button. Let me know what you guys think down below. Interact with one another. It's always good to get different feedback or different opinions from different people. I think that it's always important to hear what somebody else has to say, because we can all be stuck on our own opinions and just, you know, believe our own hype in a way, but there could be someone out there that provides more information as to what's what or what's going on. So I want to know from you guys if you guys have positive opinions, negative opinions as to what's going to happen. I just want to know your thoughts down below, guys. Thank you all for watching. As always, tune in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Take it easy, guys. Peace.